How do we define parallel lines? So the first thing we need to consider here is we consider that two lines are parallel if and only if these two lines will never meet, so even if you extend it. The reason is this line has between this line there is a constant distance. Okay, so the distance does not change even if you go to the endpoints, so wherever you go. Okay, now when it comes to the equation, two lines, so we have here two lines are said to be parallel if and only if the slope of these two lines, or remember this first line, it has a slope that is negative a sub 1 over b sub 1. The other line has a slope negative a sub 2 over b sub 2. We name this one as m sub 1 and this is m sub 2. These two lines are said to be parallel if and only if the slope are equal. So the slopes of these two are equal. So that is how we define parallel line. Number 3, x plus 4 is equal to 0 and x minus 1 is equal to 0. So what will be the slope of this? Okay, the value of a here is 1, but b is 0. The second line, the value of a is also 1, but b is 0. So how do we solve that? From the slope that is equal to negative a over b, where b is always 0, therefore the slope is undefined. Okay, both of them have undefined slope, but it happens that the slope is undefined because these two lines are considered to be vertical lines. They are vertical lines and the slope of vertical lines is undefined. But all vertical lines are parallel lines. Therefore, these two lines are parallel lines. Let's have number 4. The slope of this line is undefined. However, on the second line, the slope is negative a over b, where a is equal to 0 because there is no x here, so it means to say that numerical coefficient of x is already 0. B is equal to 1, and you substitute that, it is automatically 0. But 0 is not undefined, and undefined is not 0. Therefore, in number 4, they are not parallel to each other. Now, how do we determine the equation of a line when there is a point and there is a line that you're going to make it parallel to the existing line? X plus y minus 2 is equal to 0. The first step that we need to do here is to find the slope. From x plus y minus 2 is equal to 0, where a is equal to 1, b is equal to 1. So the slope of this line, using the formula, is obviously negative 1. Getting that its slope, since m sub 1 must be equal to m sub 2, therefore m sub 2 must also be negative 1, because we're referring to parallel lines. Therefore, on step letter C, using now the point 2, 1, and the slope of the second line, which is negative 1, we use the point slope form. We have y minus y sub 1 is equal to is the slope times x minus x sub 1. So we substitute where y sub 1 is 1 and x sub 1 is 2. So we just need to substitute. So y minus 1 is equal to the slope, which is negative 1, times x minus 2. So we have y is equal to so negative 1 will become positive 1 on the other side. Negative 1 times x is negative x, and negative 1 times negative 1 is positive. Negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2, so we have plus 2. Y is equal to negative x plus 3 will be the equation of the line in slope-intercept form, or you can write it in general form, which will now be x plus y minus 3 is equal to 0. And in standard form, we have x plus y is equal to 3. So here we're going to find the equation of a line that passes through a point 2, 1 and parallel to 2x minus 3y plus 1. So we have the first step, get the slope. The slope is equal to, where a is equal to 2. So we have 2 and b is negative 3. We have negative 3 here, substitute. So that will be 2 over 3. Now the second step, the slope of the second line must also be positive 2 over 3 because they have to be the same because they are parallel lines. Now using the point 2, 1 and the slope 2 over 3, we are now using the point slope form. Okay, we can now substitute m, and this will be 2, the y sub 1. So we can now change y sub 1 into 1. Therefore, y minus 1 is equal to 2 over 3x. Just need to distribute. Okay, so here y is equal to 2 over 3x minus 4 over 3 plus 1. Negative 4 over 3 plus 1 is equal to negative 1/3. So we have 2 over 3x minus 1/3 will be the slope-intercept form answer. But if you will end it in general form, multiply both sides by 3. So we have 3y is equal to 2x minus 1. Okay, lipat natin ng 3y. So we have 2x minus 3y minus 1 is equal to 0. That will be the general form. On the standard form, we have 2x minus 3y is equal to 1. So how do we determine 5 lines that are parallel to x minus 0.25y plus 1 equals 0? Remember that we have the rule, slope of the first line must be the slope of the second line. Therefore, we just need to copy x minus 0.25y. We just need to copy that. But we are changing the constant. So whatever is the constant that you like. So this will be our model equation. Now, to determine the 5 lines, we just keep on changing c, or the constant. Therefore, we can have x minus 0.25y plus 1 is equal to 0. We can also have x minus 0.25y minus 2. The third, plus 3. So you can just select the constant that you like. You can have pi also as a number. And you can have 0.7 is equal to 0. So these are the possible equations of lines which are parallel to x minus negative 0.25 y plus 1 equals 0. And as you observe, we are just changing the constant here from 1 to negative 2 to 3 to pi to 0.7, but the first two terms will not be changed because it will now refer to parallel lines, and all of them will have the same slope. Now, since the given is already x minus 0.25y plus 1, so we can change this plus 1 to make it plus 10. So we just change the constant and everything will be parallel already to the existing line. X minus 0.25y plus 1 is equal to 0. Let us move to perpendicular lines. We say that these two lines are perpendicular when the illustration will show if the graph is given and it will give us 90-degree angle, then we say that these two lines are perpendicular. But in analytic geometry, we are focusing on the equation. In the equation, if we say that the slope of the first line is negative a sub 1 over b sub 1, and the slope of the second line is negative a sub 2 over b sub 2, and if the product of these slopes, so kapag minultiply natin ang dalawang slope na to at naging negative 1 ang product, then we say that these two lines are perpendicular to each other. Therefore, given the first slope, and when we are looking for m sub 2 with the use of the first slope m sub 1, then the formula will now be negative 1 over m sub 1. And how do we understand negative 1 over m sub 1? Okay, so as if we are just getting the negative reciprocal of m sub 1. Because as we try to understand this, negative 1 over m sub 1 or 1 over m sub 1 is the reciprocal of m sub 1, and you just have to place negative. Let's have examples. So in this case, how are we going to identify whether the two lines are perpendicular? Let's have the first. The slope of the first line is equal to, where a is equal to 3, so we have negative 3. B is equal to negative 2, so we have negative 2 here. Slope of the first line is 3 over 2. Let us check the second line. Okay, so if we try to rewrite this one into slope-intercept form, then we can have y is equal to negative 2 over 3, 3x plus 1/3 if we're going to remove 3 or divide 3 on both sides. And now we are getting the slope of the second line, and that is negative 2 over 3 using the rule of y equals mx plus b. And when we get the product of m sub 1 and m sub 2, which is 3 over 2 times negative 2 over 3, and obviously, as observed, the product is negative 1. Therefore, these two lines are perpendicular lines. Let's check the second example. Here, slope of the first line, a is equal to 1 and b is 1 over 7. And that will give us negative 7. What about m sub 2? M sub 2 is 1 over 7. Using the slope-intercept form, we get the product of m sub 1 and m sub 2, negative 7 times 1 over 7 is negative 1. Therefore, these two lines are perpendicular. If we get the slope of y plus 4 equals 0 and y plus 5 is equal to 0, it is the value of a here is 0 and b is 1. Value of a here is 0 and b is also 1. If we get the slope using a over b, where a is 0, then automatically 0. And so with m sub 2, it is also 0. They have the same slope. Therefore, they are parallel, and so they are not perpendicular. And these two lines are called horizontal lines, okay, because their slope is the slope is 0. Let's have number 4. X minus 3 is equal to 0. The slope of this one is undefined, and the slope of y plus 7 is 0. Okay, now remember that undefined would mean the denominator is 0. You can say 1 over 0. That makes it undefined. And 0 can also be 0 over 1. If I place negative here, it remains to be undefined. And if I place negative here, or 0 over negative 1, it remains to be 0. But as you try to observe, it is a reciprocal of these two. 1 over 0 is 0 over 1. Or 1 over 0 is negative 0 over 1 by a reciprocal. Negate does not change 0. Now these two, at the first line, is a vertical line. The second line is a horizontal line. Vertical lines and horizontal lines are always perpendicular. That is a basic, should I say that is a theorem already. All vertical lines and horizontal lines are perpendicular lines. Now these two are perpendicular lines. Now let us determine the equation of a line that passes through negative 1, 4 and parallel perpendicular to x plus y plus 3 is equal to 0. So the first thing we need to do here is to get the slope of x plus y plus 3 is equal to 0. A is 1, b is 1. So slope of the first line using the formula, substitute, that is negative 1. Now getting the formula for the second, or the slope of the second line, wherein it is equal to 1 over negative 1 over m sub 1. So substitute. So negative will give us positive. Then the slope of the second line must be 1. Now substitute the slope of the second line, which is 1, and the point negative 1, 4. Use the point slope form where x sub 1 is negative 1 and y sub 1 is 4. Now substitute. Y minus 4, slope is 1, so x minus negative 1. So y can now move negative 4 on the other side, so plus 4. X plus 1. Okay, negative and negative will be positive. So y is equal to x plus 5. That will be the slope-intercept form, and if you would like to end it in general form, so we have x minus y plus 5 is 0. And in standard form, x minus y is equal to negative 5. So in the next problem, determine the equation of a line that passes through 0, 1 and perpendicular to x plus 1/5 y minus 3 is equal to 0. The first step is still getting the slope. The slope of this line, where a is 1, so we have negative 1 over, and b is 1/5. Still we're using m that is equal to negative a over b. So the answer here is negative 5. Now using m sub 1, we're solving for the slope of the second line. So we have negative 1 over m sub 1, where m sub 1 is negative 5, so substitute. So the answer for, or the slope of the second line is 1/5. Now use the point 0, 1 and the slope, that is 1/5, and substitute that to y minus y sub 1 is equal to the slope times x minus x sub 1, which is the point slope form, where y sub 1 is 1 and x sub 1 is 0. So substitute, slope is 1/5 x minus 0. Therefore, y is equal to 1/5 x plus 1, and that is the slope-intercept form. Now from y that is equal to 1/5 x plus 1, multiply both sides by 5. So we now have 5y is equal to x plus 5. So lipat natin ang 5y, so magiging x minus 5y plus 5 is equal to 0, and that will be the general form. Now the standard form is x minus 5y is equal to negative 5. So on the next problem, we're going to determine 5 lines that are perpendicular to 4x plus 1/5 y minus 3 is equal to 0. So in here, we're going to find the slope first of 4x plus 1/5 y minus 3. So the slope of this line, using the formula negative a over b, where a is equal to 4 and b is 1/5, so we have negative 4 over 1/5. And that will be equal to negative 20 when we get the reciprocal of 1/5, which is 5, and multiply that to 4 will give us 20, and there's negative, so negative 20. Now from negative 20, we just need to get the slope of the second line, and this slope will be the slope of the 5 lines. Okay, so m sub 2 is equal to negative 1 over m sub 1. Yeah, that is negative 1 over negative 20, and that will be 1 over 20. Therefore, we can have an equation having a slope of 1 over 20, so we can have y, using y that is equal to mx plus b. Let m be equal to 1 over 20, the new slope, and we'll just keep on changing b or any constant. Okay, so we can have, this is already accepted, y is equal to 1 over 20x, where b is 0. Now we can have y over is equal to 1 over 20x plus 1. Y is equal to 1 over 20x plus 3. Y is equal to 1 over 20x minus 2. Or y is equal to 1 over 20x plus 5. Now you can enter your answer in general form by multiplying 20 on both sides. So in this case, this will be 20y is equal to x, which can now be written into x minus 20y is equal to 0. That is the general form and also the standard form. So meaning to say, we are just following x minus 20y. So we're just multiplying 20 to 1, to 3, to negative 2, to 5. And this will now give us x minus 20y plus 20 is equal to 0. X minus 20y, 20 times 3 is 60, so plus 60 equals 0. X minus 20y, so 20 times negative 2 is negative 40. And x minus 20y plus 20 times 5 is 100. So this will be the general form of the equations. So if you're just looking for the standard form, then you can just move 20 on the other side, 60 on the other side for, okay, or you can have x minus 20y is equal to negative 60. X minus 20y is equal to 40, or x minus 20y is equal to negative 100, while the other is x minus 20y is equal to negative 20. Okay, so that is how we get equations of the lines perpendicular to the existing line. We are just getting first the slope of the existing line, and then we get now the slope of the second line using the slope of the first line. And from this slope, we'll now generate infinite number of lines. So it's like illustrating this way. There is this one line that is existing, and all other lines are now infinite. So parang ganito ang ibig sabihin. Lahat sila ay perpendicular na dito sa existing line.